DEX is one of my favorite features on Samsung devices by far. I'm talking specifically on the S series or the Note series or devices that support DEX like the Z Fold 4. One of the biggest things is the fact that we can leverage not only the 5G connectivity of our smartphone, we can also leverage the storage, the fast storage of our smartphone, the RAM, but also the processing power of our device on a device or on an accessory that supports DEX. You can use it wirelessly or wired, and of course, some of the biggest benefits here is the fact that you're using your device to its full potential, multitasking to the next level. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about NexDock. Now, NexDock makes these laptop type of experiences that enables us to use DEX in a laptop experience on the go while charging our smartphone. One of the biggest features that we have with the new generation is the fact that we can also do this now wirelessly. This is TK and this is my review of the NexDock Wireless. Not only is it 360, but it also connects to our smartphone wirelessly. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So what we have in front of us obviously is the S23 Ultra. This is the latest edition from Samsung featuring the best processing, best storage, best capabilities, of course. One of the biggest things that we have here as well is One UI 5.1, the latest edition based on Android 13 for Samsung devices. And of course, what we have here is the NexDock Wireless. Now, for all intents and purposes, the wireless is very similar to the NexDock 360, but the biggest difference is that now it also includes the wireless radios for Bluetooth, for the keyboard and mousepad, as well as the ability of actually displaying over Wi-Fi the DEX experience from our smartphone, since DEX is actually capable of working wired or wirelessly. So, we're going to talk about the capabilities and what we can do. So first, we'll go ahead and put the phone on the side. The NexDock itself is a laptop. So essentially, all intents and purposes, this is a laptop without the processing power, but we still have a display. So this is a 13-inch display. This is going to be the display that we have. So essentially what we're talking about is a 13-inch display. Sorry for the for the focusing level here is because it's trying to see itself and it's focusing up there. So it's a 13-inch IPS display, 1080p resolution, but also supporting touch. It also does open up in 360 mode, which means we can actually use it in a tablet mode, which is very nice. The keyboard still sits on the back, but the best experience, of course, is when we use it in a display mode and we can actually prop it up using the keyboard stand. On the bottom itself, it's actually what you normally expect from a laptop. We have a keyboard, a mouse, and of course we have optional, I/O on the side. We have 4 1-watt speakers built into this actually, and of course the keyboard configuration, media keys at the top, a nice large touchpad on the bottom, and the word NextDock sitting here. Very nice and very responsive. On the sides, we actually have a few options as far as I/O. So the main port that we have here is a USB 3.1 plus DisplayPort connectivity option. So you connect your device using USB-C and you're able to connect it and play directly from it. Now what I really love about this is not only does it work with your smartphone, but it also works with your laptop, and I'll show that to you guys in a little bit with my MacBook. On the bottom, we have a mini HDMI. This is going to also be input, so those are the two primarily input ports that we have. We also have the ability of charging our dock using this port. So that's going to be on the left side, and you can definitely see there's a little bit of a raised or a separation here from the top because that's where the keyboard keys are sitting. On the bottom, not much. We have 4 offsets, the word NextDock, and of course, do not recycle. This is obviously including a battery built in here. On the right side, we have a headphone jack, a USB-C for accessories, a microSD card supporting SDXC micro card, of course, the power button, and last but not least is an accessory port. They include an adapter in the box that you're able to connect a full USB-A. So it's a USB-C to USB-A adapter that they include in the box, and you can connect like a mouse or an external drive or something that you want to be able to interface with your device directly from the other side. Now in the box, of course, they include the quick start guide and show you guys all of the ports, all that information that I just shared with you guys, as well as a charger and a USB-C cable to be able to charge up your device, and of course explains to you how you'd be able to connect it wirelessly. One thing to mention is when we're using this wirelessly in DEX mode, we need to connect wirelessly via the DEX on the device, and then also connect the keyboard and the mouse over Bluetooth to the device so that you're able to connect and interface as a full laptop. And DEX at that point will run literally like the laptop is not even connected to the phone, but DEX still runs beautifully. Now lastly, when it comes down to the accessories, we have the HDMI cable to be able to connect directly with a full-size HDMI, the charger that comes in the box, USB-C to C cable to be able to connect to the charger and charge up our battery that we have in here. And that's one of the nicest things that we have in here. We have a 5800 milliampere battery that's not only able to run the NextDock, but also charge our device when using it in a wired mode. Obviously, no wireless connectivity, but when you're using it wired, you're able to charge up your device. Last but not least is also the 90-degree cable with USB-C connection. This is going to be a USB-C 3.1 cable to transfer video and, of course, audio to our device, since we can actually play audio video straight from our device on this unit. And again, last but not least, again, that USB-A to USB-C adapter for anything that requires USB-A. If you need USB-C, you can just connect it straight to the auxiliary port on the bottom right. Now, for connectivity purposes, all you have to do is connect this cable to the right side of the, or the left side, I guess, of the actual keyboard itself. Turn it on and unlock it, connect it directly into the unit itself, and go ahead and turn on the DEX experience. So for the most part, I'll go ahead and let it turn on by itself. I'll give it a second to power up, and then once it's powered up, it'll show up that it's connected to my smartphone, and automatically DEX will go ahead and launch. So I've already obviously paired this before. There's no wireless pairing or anything that you need to do when you use it in wired mode. The biggest difference in wired mode obviously is that this is the same thing we've used in the past. You can either flip it over to the other side, you have touch configuration, and your device is charging at the same time as you're using the unit. So you're not going to have a problem with the battery drained at the end of the day when you're using it. But if you do want that flexibility of being wireless, this is definitely going to be one of those main benefits that we have in here. Now we are actually able to use the radio. So we have wireless radios supported on the NexDock Wireless. So the 360 does not support this, but this supports 360 functionalities plus the wireless capability. And because we are able to put the microSD card directly into the actual dock itself, as well as the ability of using a headphone jack straight on the right side, this allows us to now have a headphone jack and a microSD card storage expansion to our Samsung device that we haven't had for many, many years, because this is actually working as basically an OTG adapter connection to it. Even though it's referencing the keyboard, the mouse, and everything, when we have it connected in a wired configuration, the microSD card works like a champ, and it works in the clutch. So absolutely one of the best features. Unfortunately, wireless connectivity does not translate the microSD option, only the wired connection will. For wireless connectivity though, we still have the ability of getting audio over the headphone jack, so still a very nice functional option when we're on the go. Now for wireless connectivity on your Samsung device, all you have to do is go down straight into the DEX experience, press and click on it, and if you give it a few seconds, let's say start now, it's going to start looking for compatible devices, and you'll notice that the dock, NextDock, is in here already, so it by default automatically logs in and turns on for me. So here it is, Samsung DEX, I'll let it focus, and here we are, Samsung DEX running on our smartphone, straight from our smartphone, directly in a wireless configuration, and I just realized I don't actually have to keep this keyboard open all the way. So the best configuration that we're able to do here is that the mouse runs as if it's connected to the PC, and it's, well, actually to the phone, and we're able to get into the app drawer and then of course access and open up any application. We still have touch configuration, so I can actually open up, let's say, the gallery application. And of course we can go into camera, and we'll go ahead and open one of our favorite pictures that I just opened. I posted this one over on social media. Again, I'm actually accessing the content straight from my phone on here, and that's one of the biggest benefits. The other thing is also the ability of changing audio output because we are connected. So if I connect it here and I go into the default output, you notice that the NextDock is a selection as well as the phone. NextDock will connect over wired or wireless for audio configuration, so you can listen using the headphone jack present on the bottom right on this end, sorry, where my finger is on the bottom right side of the screen, making this very, very functional. Again, the only difference when you're using it wirelessly is A, we're not charging our device, so therefore the battery will last us longer, but our phone is not being used. And B, we don't have access to the SD card because it needs to have a physical connection over. So when you're done and you don't want to use it at all, you can just turn off DEX at this point. Your phone goes back into normal mode and the dock goes into this screen. And at this point, you just have the ability of either using it by, again, backwards and jumping into it, and then you'll be able to set up everything. Now, last but not least, you do have a control option here to be able to configure the different brightness level, the power level, and of course, lock orientation or unlock it, and of course, undock. It's basically present on the bottom right side of the screen. You just have to swipe 2 fingers down, and this comes up, and you can see that the battery percentage on the dock right now is 37%. Again, at the end of the day, when you're using it with your phone will stay at 100%. The dock will basically stay at whatever charge level is left. NextDock's been making accessories for DEX and of course EMUI desktop and of course Honor Magic UI desktop for many years, and even over for when LG used to have their desktop experience. The biggest difference here in what we're getting here is the ability of now going into a wireless solution. I got a chance to check this out back at CES with one of their events going on there, and I was very impressed. The thing I will probably say is, from a functional standpoint, this is absolutely fantastic because as an accessory, it not only works with your smartphone, but it also works with anything that uses HDMI or even USB-C video output. An example would be your PC. Most of them support video output over USB-C, and you can make this as a secondary display. Another one would be also great for creators is actually, like as I'm talking to you guys right now on the camera here, this is a Sony camera that supports HDMI or full HDMI out. They provide you the cable for it, and I can use my laptop or NextDock, essentially not laptop, as a monitor for my camera when I'm outside on the go. So it becomes really functional. The fact that it adds an SD card and a headphone jack to Samsung devices is the next level thing that you can't get by just using DEX as a typical standard DEX, meaning if I use DEX on PC or if I'm using it wirelessly with a TV, you don't have that input, that I/O functionality. The Bluetooth connectivity is actually something very nice. You just need to remember to do so because DEX connects automatically and it considers the Nextdock as a display only. And then you jump into your Bluetooth setting, as I'm showing you guys right now, and you pair the keyboard and the mouse touchpad individually. And that's where the difference between the wireless and the 360 comes in. We have the radios here to support said connectivity and it makes it functional for us. So if you want to be able to use it and not have to have your phone connected to your Nextdock, this is going to work just fantastic. Audio transfer is great. SD card again requires that wired connection, but for that I can actually now leverage a 512 gig internal storage on the Nextdock with the headphone jack and offset the content straight from my phone to my laptop, and of course that gives us that extra functionality. What I really like about this and what makes this very unique is that I can actually run LumaFusion now in a desktop experience without having to leverage having it connected to a TV. I have a keyboard, I have a mouse, I can edit videos, produce videos, and use the full potential of my S23 Ultra because I'm using the processing power, the CPU, the brand new 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy's CPU. I'm using the internal storage that we have in here. I'm using the RAM that's built in here, the 5G connectivity, all on the go from this accessory. So if you are a fan of multitasking, if you are a fan of DEX, this is an absolute must-have. And of course, you don't have to go with the wireless solution. They do have the wired, and that's just the standard Nextdock 360. The wireless just takes it to that next level. So if you need it, you can definitely pick it up with this with the optional radios. If you don't, you can save about maybe $50 or so. I'll let you guys check out the links in the description below. But overall, as far as basically just what does One UI 5.1 offer us, it's a very much similar experience to One UI 5.0 that we've seen before. And again, just leverages the power of DEX that has basically been evolved and evolutionary updates and functional, like even snapping windows, launching multi-windows, and of course, getting all those touch interfaces working very nicely. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Nextdock ecosystem? They have other options as well. They have a display, they have a tab, and of course they have other options when it comes to their Nextdocks themselves. I'll see you in the next video. And again, thank you very much for the support. Bye-bye for now.